What is going on? Welcome to Heaven on Earth. I'm Michael, the Leo Mystic. This is where we observe the rhythm of the heavens, the celestial objects, to speak the language of our soul. This is the astrological forecast for the 5th of December until the 11th. And we are building up towards a full moon in Gemini on Mars retrograde. Whilst it is kind of eclipsing, it's not eclipsing, but Mars is going to just disappear because it's going to be on the same line as Mars. So Mars is going to be bye-bye for just a couple of hours. That's pretty intense. We're going to talk about that in just a second. I do want to say you can always join the Heaven on Earth community and learn to work with these cycles of the planets, the cycle of Mother Nature, and the cycles of the seasons. Because your cycles, inner rhythm, your heart, your breathing, your emotions, they're all aligned to the cycles of the planets and Mother Earth and her seasons. And Bruce Lipton, in one of his recent posts, actually called it astrophysiology. I was so happy to see it being supported by someone who we could call a respected scientist, and so that's kind of like my heart was like, so happy. So either way, if you want to learn to dive deeper and to learn to tune into yourself more, increase your intuition, the confidence in that language of your intuition, and just put things in the world that are according to your talents and with the impact of helping this earth, the environment, your personal environment, your friends and your audience, then the Heaven on Earth community is for you. So check that out. I'll put the link in the description below. All right. So, beautiful people, we got the sun traveling through Sagittarius, and by the day, it is closing in with a square to Neptune. And that's going to happen exactly next week. But, there is tension. There's tension around truth. What is true in our lives? What is true 12 years ago is definitely not true anymore now. But it is important to mention the 12-year cycle, give or take, because Jupiter is closing its cycle through the zodiac in Pisces. It's at the 29th degree this week, and it's going really fast. And by next week or the week after, I'm not sure anymore, it's going to go into Aries. Well, actually, it's going to go there at the 21st of December, if I remember right, which is pretty cool. On the winter solstice for the northern part, the summer solstice for the southern part. So Jupiter in Pisces there is really just closing in all its beliefs around spirituality, truth, God, faith, dreams, but also our illusions that we have about what this all means and what this all is and what everything means to us, what our reality is, what we think is right to do, what we think is, true, around food, around dinner, around cars, around whatever subjects. It's all changing. And that's a tension that's being created big time. And there's a crisis in action that needs to be taken. Jupiter squared the sun, So the action of believing, having faith, and having your distortions being exposed and having your beliefs being put right in front of you. So anyway, that's all playing in the background, and it definitely increases either too much optimism, as I, been talking about many forecasts already, but also the illusion that we know what's right, that we are doing the right thing. It's also media spreading lies even more. It's just us really, especially with this T-square again, getting into our Virgoness. I've talked about it in past forecasts. I'm not going to do that anymore here. What I do want to talk about this week, first and foremost, before the full moon in Gemini on Mars retrograde, which is aggressive, which is intense, which is Moon and Mars are gut instinct actions. This is so unpredictable because, what you feel as an impulse for gut has a lot to do with your survival, right? So there's a lot of survival instinct that's going to be activated. And Mars is retrograde even too. I mean, let's talk about the full moon in just a second. I do want to say we started the week with the moon in Taurus, which is beautiful. It's comfortable and it's attached to its beautiful possessions. But you can't even there's so many aspects that are triggering that moon in Taurus in its comfort zone. First and foremost, it's on the North Node. So we know that we're being taken out of our comfort zone, in our comfort zone. And Uranus is there too. It's conjunct Uranus. So it's so unpredictable. It is shocking in both a positive way as a beautiful way. But it's in conjunct the sun. So we know it's going to go a little bit more annoying. It's going to be disturbing. Because the sun in Sagittarius is exploring new theories, new things, is excited, is experimenting. But squaring Neptune and opposing Mars, it's increasing its opposition to Mars too by the day. So that's just blind action, fogginess, purchasing illusions, maybe even conversion too. We could see people really oppressing their beliefs on us, without targeting certain people or groups. But, let's just say, here in Spain and in Belgium and in Europe, we have a lot of those messengers from God. It doesn't even matter what belief it is, but we know that they come from door to door. We could see them even being more certain about what they do, which I can truly support. But we could see, it doesn't, let's not talk about those people, but, just any belief, any guru, any religion where they're going to oppress their belief and say, this is true. We even see it with science today. You should, believe science, which is a very paradox because, let's not open that can of worms. So either way, so there's that very, we could expect, a whole different perspective on what we think is valuable. We could think that, this house that we had was the most beautiful thing ever, but now, we have a whole new agreement on a new house that's even better than our standards, or the other way around. It just depends. It could go either way. It doesn't matter how, what you think it is. It's I guess we could always say that it's whatever is happening to you is for your growth, and it's definitely to do with growth. So if it doesn't look like a gift right now, it will probably be in a couple of years. But it's just the moon, so it's very short, but it can definitely be something that shifts in your valuable things, money, possessions, house, food, your physical body, your senses. There's something that shifts that is going to be annoying for just a couple of, maybe a day or so, or 2 days. Either way, then we build up to the full moon in Gemini. And the full moon in Gemini is very curious and is a completion of a cycle that we started 6 months ago, which was seeking out, exploring, studying, factual things. And they are now coming to a close. And people have so much to say about what's true, and people have so many opinions, and the opinions are going to be so big, especially on Mars. It's going to cut. People are going to have true harsh feedback, as I already said, but it's going to be increased. And as I said, with the moon on Aries, that's gut instinct. If people don't feel safe, it's not rational. Whilst Gemini is a very rational sign. And the beautiful thing is that Mercury is going to be in Capricorn whilst that happens. And that at least gives us a little bit of grounding. But what I would warn for is that when we have those discussions, when there are these manifestations, and, Moon and Mars together do those crazy, unpredictable, reptilian kind of actions that's like all of a sudden gone, or just attacking, or not rational, that the Mercury in Capricorn tends to be like very yes or no. It's like an iron fist. So rules that would become like very, repercussion is what I see with this full moon in Gemini. So much I will get back at you energy, because I know what the plan is, I know what the rules are, and I'm going to follow them, and I will get you. And the reason I'm also saying this is because this Sagittarian season started off with a dark moon in Scorpio. So there's that intensity, there's that nasty energy. It's so I would be very cautious. At the same time, it's also a good energy to write whatever comes. That's what the full moon in Gemini is, right? The book comes out, and people just write, and I mean, just like a lot to say, a lot to share. At the same time, the sun is in Sagittarius, so we're being invited to not only be rational, not only act from the gut, but also introduce some intuition. Whilst on a 3D level, this could introduce conversion, like I already said. This could introduce, people just thinking they're right and not giving a fuck about your own opinion. It's just like very confrontational. But what I would say is that source, God, faith, is going to have to play a role. This is a very much balancing out of the left brain and the right brain, because, the left brain of Gemini energy, moon in Gemini, Mars in Gemini, pointing to Mercury in Capricorn, is like very rational, very practical. Let's do this that way. And that's why it's really good. And I would advise, to whatever you are writing, to whatever you're needing to express, that you channel it without having to include someone else, because it might hurt. Or, if you're open to get confrontational, get in the chaos, get in the challenge, I would say go on. But I would at least wait a couple of days until Venus comes into Capricorn, and this full moon energy just went down a little bit, has a little bit less energy. And then I think we can be very practical. We can find solutions. We can find, Saturn activated by Mercury in Capricorn. And still technically, trining Saturn is over to Mars in retrograde. So that integration aspect, that intuition. And Saturn at the 20th degree now in Aquarius is becoming more mature. We're becoming more mature about our responsibilities, about the future, about groups, about individualizing, about rebellion, There's a more mature spiritual energy at the 20th degree here, and it's only increasing. And we're redoing it for the third time. So it kind of looks like we should have learned the lesson. At least that's the energy that's available, But that's the left brain. And it has a lot of ideas, and it has a lot of integration, and that's the energy that's possible for you. At the same time, there's so much right brain activity with the sun in Sagittarius that expands, and with Jupiter in Pisces at the 29th degree of Pisces, that is so much into other realms, so much into we can do it more, and we can dream. And it's just, I think, if we use this energy right, we use our gut instinct, we use the rationality to be expressed, to do a sports activity, you know, express yourself creatively, write it all down, talk with someone you trust, talk with some, you know, it just like spit it all out. And then, man, just dream what is possible with that. And then again, those dreams, put it into a practical plan. It's just, can you see the recycle energy that's available here, you know? And at the same time, still a full moon on Mars, and Mars is eclipsed. There's something going on in the back seat. There's something going on that is eclipsed that we cannot see with Mars and Gemini, that is aggressive, that, you know, actions behind the scenes, you know, just also what we started 2 years ago when Mars was in Aries, and then things coming to a close and things starting again. It's just like eclipse energy a little bit. It's not, you know, not as much, but there is something to the fact that Mars is gone for just a second, and that makes it even more unpredictable, and you know, kind of worries me a little bit for some reason. Mars is the planet of war. It is opposing the sun. It is squaring Neptune. This is a religious, you know, war. We've seen that the past 2 years. Now it's retrograde. And retrograde represses the anger, represses, you know, all the actions. And when the full moon is on Mars, it's released. And we don't see it. Maybe it means, I don't know, it's just what I'm feeling here. This is not really astrology, but maybe it means that it's so like lightning that strikes, like Rick Levine likes to say, and we only see afterwards what happened. Maybe there's going to be something that will be done that we're going to have to face the consequences of. Again, this tension energy that is there, the release point is Virgo. It's practical, it's a structure, it's cleaning, it's being judgmental in a way of the Buddhi mind, of dissecting it and not making an emotional decision, considering the emotions, feeling them, but using them as feedback, and then make a decision. A decision after deep consideration. And that is the invitation, again, for this full moon in Gemini on Mars, to face the consequences and to clean the fucking mess. Okay, well, I think that was that. I wish you a beautiful week. I'm looking forward to what your thoughts are on the full moon in Gemini and how that's impacting you. You can always put it down below. I wish you so much love. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.